it's actually better in the context of dating not to be aware of your flaws. I'm talking about physical flaws now. I retweeted something earlier. Somebody was saying that looks are the most important aspects in the package as far as dating, getting with the opposite sex is concerned. And that may well be true, but at the same time, one of the many problems with all of the black pill content that gets spewed out all over the internet is that it makes guys too aware of things that potentially might be a bit wrong with them. You know, sort of a certain degree of facial imperfection, you know, lack of symmetry, maybe the certain bone structure isn't quite right or whatever. The difficulty with all this stuff is it does you absolutely no good whatsoever, unless you decide, okay, well, I'm going to have some surgery to correct whatever this thing may or may not be. But for the most part, if you're not going to do that, focusing on your flaws does you no good at all. And the reason is this, because what you want to do when you walk into an interaction with a woman that you are attracted to, you want to be walking in there with absolute 110% assuredness that you are a complete and total G. You know, you want to be walking in there with the mindset that you are absolutely the hottest guy in the club. Now, objectively, whether that's true or not is a separate point, okay? It may be true. Maybe you are the best looking guy in the club. It may well not be true. But that is a secondary point. The thing as far as mindset is concerned is that you've got to walk in there believing that, all right? Now, I used to do this. I would, when I was going to clubs in London a lot, obviously I'd, make sure that I was as well groomed as I possibly could. I'd get a nice haircut, I'd sort my skin out, whatever. I'd do all of the stuff that you should do in order to make sure that you're looking as good as you humanly can. But after that, I tried to actually avoid looking in the mirror too much. And when I would go into approaches, I'd have this sort of idealized version of myself in my head, this kind of photoshopped version of me that I created in my own mind, in my head, as this is what I look like, this is my identity, this is who I am. And it's kind of hard to describe the mindset behind this, really, but when I went in and had conversations with people, when I went in and spoke to girls, I would go in there with this idea of myself in the back of my head. This is what I'm like. I'm this super handsome, super, not necessarily super ripped, but like super handsome dude. And the strange thing is that what you project tends to be what other people receive, okay? Now, of course, I'm not claiming that if you are a male too, you could just imagine that you're Bradley Cooper and you're going to, suddenly people are going to buy into that. Obviously, that's not the case. So I'm talking about within reason. But it really, really helped me as a mental experiment, as a mental thought experiment, just to sort of go into these interactions absolutely and fundamentally believing that I was the man as far as looks were concerned, okay? And what I've noticed is that when you do then start to focus on imperfections, when you do start to think, well, okay, actually this could be tweaked, or that isn't that good, or this other thing is not premium Chad, or whatever, that starts to get in your head. And the difficulty with that is, then you're going into the interaction with this subconscious, or not even subconscious, sometimes conscious thought of, oh, she's not going to like me because of this, because of that. And what do you think that does to your chances of her actually liking you? Well, obviously it detonates them, because, what are you projecting then? You're projecting, well, I'm sort of less than perfect, but will you give me a chance, please? And that's no good. That's a really, really terrible frame. As I say, so if you're watching these videos that talk a lot about male aesthetics and male beauty and how the perfect Chad should look and all the rest of it, it's a waste of time. I mean, it's a waste of time anyway, unless you're going to have plastic surgery. Let's be real. If you're going to use that information and then go and have expensive plastic surgery and get it changed, then okay, that's one thing. But unless you're going to do that, then it's a waste of time anyway, because what else can you do? You're stuck with how you look. But it's also a waste of time if you ever do decide to get out of the bedroom and try to kickstart your dating life, because it's just gonna swill around in the cesspool of your mind, and it's going to taint and spoil and deform the interactions that you're having. Remember the old dictum about irrational self-confidence, right? The most attractive factor in a man's personality, really, well, apart from dominance, is irrational self-confidence, right? You know, if you walk into the conversation, you walk into the interaction as if you completely believe that you are the man, that just rubs off on the girl, right? She picks up on that energy that you're transmitting, and she, in many cases, not in all cases, of course, you know, disclaimer, we're living in reality here, we're not living in some weird fantasy, but in many cases she will pick up on that and sort of believe it in a way. I said believe it is maybe the wrong way to phrase it, but she will receive that energy that you're transmitting, and she will reflect it back, okay? Because we, as human beings, we tend to buy into what is presented to us. So if you're somebody who presents as being extremely confident, you present as though you are somebody who really thinks you've got it going on, then there's a tendency for the other person, remember, whoever's frame is the strongest wins. There's a tendency for the other person on the other side of that to buy in as well and think, well, this guy thinks he's awesome, so there must be something about him. All right, it's almost like a mini social proof demonstration, if you like, because most people aren't walking around super confident unless they've got some real tangible reason to be super confident. If you can walk around and be super confident, or appear to be super confident, even if you have doubts, and remember, those doubts may not be warranted because we always judge ourselves more harshly than others, then you're more likely to be onto a winner than if you don't do that. So forget all of the minutiae. I mean, look, again, disclaimer, fix what you can fix, right? All we can do is control the things that are within our control. It's kind of truism, really, but you know what I'm saying. All we can do is fix the things we can fix and kind of let go of the rest, unless you're going to travel to Mexico and get some plastic surgery or something, because life really is too short to be worrying about that BS, and you're better to walk into interactions, social situations with extreme confidence, come what may. And there's nothing to lose by doing that either. I mean, haters would say, well, there is something to lose because, you know, you'll look like you're Gestamaxing, or, you know, whatever the current term is for it. But sod all of that, who cares? It doesn't really matter. Tangibly, there's nothing to lose by walking into a situation with supreme confidence, all right, about your looks, about your, I don't know, physique, about every aspect of yourself. You might as well walk in as if you're the man. It's going to pay dividends. And failure to do that is going to harm you. So don't focus on the minutiae, fix the stuff that you can fix, and really just take it from there, you know? Just go in certain, absolutely certain that you've got it going on, that you are the man, because you are. Because, you know, you are enough. There is going to be some girl out there, not some girl out there. There are going to be women out there who like you for you. It's a myth to think that we have to be these superhuman beings, you know, that we have to be the guy with the 12-pack or whatever that's been photoshopped on Instagram. We don't, right? You have to be just slightly better than your competition. And to be honest, for the most part, your competition isn't very good. So forget the minutiae, stop watching videos about male aesthetics, because it's all a load of nonsense and it's a waste of time, and they're pretty boring, to be honest. And just get out there and start putting yourself into the mix and socializing. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there for this one. But if you want to talk to me about your own dating situation, your own social life, then you can absolutely do that. Book a free call. There's a link below. Also, grab my collection of 11 books about dating and the dating marketplace. It's called Renegade Dating Blueprint. Again, there's a link below. Subscribe to the channel, give me a like, give me a comment, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye-bye.